going forward with your class, you're gonna have people, and I'm sure you have people all the time. Me and Russell just discuss this about the pushback from the material you're teaching and who you're teaching it to. And from what you're saying, from your rabbi's perspective, is time is of the essence.
That's right.
So, maybe 30 years ago this material didn't need to be taught, but it seems to be very important in this time we're living in right now. And from what you're saying, it's what Rabbi Bass was his thinking on it too.
Mm-hmm.
So going forward, when you hear that pushback about the material, what's your response to that?
Well, I tell you what I've learned, and Russell will agree, I believe, is that over the last 15 years, the amount of pushback that we have had is not many people could have survived it. But we've learned one thing. What we do that nobody else does is we put out Torah. And when you put out Torah, week in and week out of that house that he's sitting in right there, 5 Torah classes a week come out of that house. Now, there is not another non-Jew on this planet that can make that claim. I'm certain of it. And when you put out Torah for the sake of heaven, not for the sake of gravitas and money or any other pomp and circumstance, but when you put it out purely for the sake of heaven, you will survive. And we have stayed in our lane the whole time. We haven't changed. We don't have an agenda other than putting out the secrets and the knowledge of Torah to whoever wants to listen to it. Our pages are open. If you want to listen to it, come listen to it. And the pushback just gives us fire. We're old school boys. It's if you want to defeat us, put out more Torah than us.
Well, yeah, and I agree 100%. And I guess the other part of that question is do you believe this material is for everybody?
No, it's not. It's not. It's for,
like you were saying, 1 in 1,000, right? I mean, it's very selective.
This class, it is not for everybody, but it's for that person that really desires to know Hashem and really desires to know what's going on.
To get that peek behind the veil, as you were talking about.
And they want to look behind the veil, And not everybody has that, what's called the Shorish Neshama, that soul root. Not everybody has that thing. And that's okay. There's a spot in Hashem's world for every living person, every living soul. But there are those, and they want to know what's going on. They want to really know. And for those that really want to know, we want to present it out there to them and say, here's the secrets. Here's what the Tzaddiks and the sages, what they really, really knew. They were geniuses. Every man in the Talmud, every rabbi in that Talmud book, the whole series, not only did they know what I'm teaching, they knew it 1,000-fold than I even know it.
Right.
I mean, Elijah is coming into their yeshiva and teaching them. Who would like to stand in that presence, right? So what all we want to do is stand on the shoulders of the ones that came before us and try to do as good a job and make them proud. I want to make Vendel Jones proud that the legacy of the non-Jew, the righteous non-Jew in Torah still exists. I want to make the legacy of Rabbi Joel David Baxt. I want to stand on his shoulders and say, Here is the secrets of the Torah for the non-Jew. Time is short. Get your stuff together, because when Judgment Day comes, it is too late. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Absolutely.
and I think what Hashem is doing on the other side, because if Hashem didn't want what we were doing, Hashem would stop it. We wouldn't.
Right.
There wouldn't be a man need to stop it. Hashem would stop it.
Well, I think it's real important for everybody to know that that maybe has never been, in one of your classes or listened to one of your classes. You're sourcing the material not just from the sages' written material. You're sourcing it from their book, from the Tanakh, from the Talmud, from the Zohar, and you're reading it straight out of those books.
That's right.
This is not an interpretation of what you think the sages are saying.
It's not an opinion class.
You're telling them, hey, this is what he's saying, and here it is, and you're tying it together into where we're at now. So people, and you're giving people the mechanics to be able to use those mechanics to look behind that veil when they engage in Torah study. That's right. The way I feel about it.
That's the goal. The goal is to being taught the language, being taught the secret code, being taught what these things are for the couple decades that I was taught it, and understanding how they think, understanding how they speak, understanding the mechanics, the maps, the metaphors, the models, as Rabbi Bax would say. You have to know the maps. You have to know the metaphors. You have to know the models. You have to know these things. If you know these things, it's plug and play. And then when you read from the Zohar, absolutely, and you read from the Talmud, and it just jumps out at you off the page. And when you read from Ravali, then you take it and you try to condense it, and then you try to, because some of the words are very hard to put over into English. Then you have to put it over so it's digestible, and you will get, and people will get those aha moments. And Russell says it all the time. It's self-explanatory now.
Well, you're not telling people what to think. You're telling people how to think, how to process the information and put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do that, it is absolutely self-explanatory. If you follow this all along, like I have, there's nothing shocking. There's nothing new. It's amazing how it all connects together, and you may be amazed, but you're not shocked at what you're hearing and doing. Yeah. Once you know all these maps, models, and metaphors, and how to think and how to use that Yiddish cup and understand some of the terminology and do that. And that's one of the things we've said for a long time, is that it's kind of like a merry-go-round, and all you got to do is jump on. There's no starting point and there's no ending point. You just have to jump in and hang on. And eventually it comes all together. If you can make it to that point, it's an amazing place to be.